3 weeks ago, I knew nothing about this bear, and now I'm sitting publicly crying on the internet. Like, hi everyone, welcome back to After Broadway, the podcast where we deep dive into anything and everything musical theater. I'm Tara.
I'm Stefania.
And in today's episode, we simply cannot wait to talk about this, so we're doing it so early. And this is our review on Paddington The Musical. Wow. And the only thing that we have to show for it is our show pins. Please look after this bear. New York, I'm talking about you specifically because London is taking care of it.
You know what they should have? Like the little tag, like a pin.
Oh,
that's the tag that's like, please look after this bear. But
also they should make that into like a luggage tag.
Wow.
Oh, I should have brought my prop. It's too far away right now. But yeah, like imagine if that was an actual luggage tag. That would be so fun.
That would be really cute. Like, please look after this bear.
New York, whoever's doing your merch, we can help you.
Let's get on this.
I can't really help anybody in London. Oh, this is a thick t-shirt. I didn't realize.
You're like,
to put this pin on. Whoa. This. You know what I have to do? I have to put all the pins back on my jean jacket. You know why? Because I tried to do it through two things, and that was dumb of me. I took all the pins off my jean jacket for when we went on vacation because last time I had them all on, we were losing pins in the subway station at New York.
We were dropping pins.
And I didn't want to do that in London, so I took them all off. And now when I wear that jacket, I'm like, something's missing. It feels wrong.
I have all my pins currently on like a pin board sort of canvas, and I need to figure out a way to display because it's too many to have on a jacket currently. Yeah,
it is too many for me also, but like I just do it. What did we say? You could potentially frame a canvas, right? Did we say that when we were in London? I feel like we were talking about this.
Yeah, I kind of want to like cover it in fabric of some sort.
That's nice. The other thing too is this is really the only show merch that we got from the entire week. So
I know.
And it's a good one. This is the best one, I think. The pin sets were like okay, but these were the nicest for sure.
Yeah, we were like looking around and we looked at lots of different things, but I don't know. Nothing was really speaking. And then we didn't buy any of like the programs because we're so used to like we take for granted that we get them for free at home and in New York. So yeah, this was the moment.
The one thing merch I was looking at, and Steph knows this because I also sent it to her before we even went to London, but there is a cute Paddington t-shirt. I just can't pay £70 for that. Sorry.
No, that's like $140.
Yeah.
That's not reasonable.
Like, it's too much, but it is really cute. It's got like icons on it instead of like something super cheesy or like a show logo, but it's like all of the things that Paddington loves in like a row. And then I think it says London on it, but I'm not sure. Anyway, before we get too far off of this, we're going to talk about Paddington today. And as I said at the beginning of this episode, this is on stage like for a long time and it's going to Broadway, but like I simply can't think about anything else, so I just like need to talk about it.
Are tickets on sale until 2028? Did I hear that correctly?
Yes. They just, when they announced Broadway, they also announced
crazy.
That.
That's a bit crazy.
Is it? It's giving Little Shop of Horrors.
No, it's good. I'm excited, but, 2028 is crazy. So you will, if you're in London, you will have opportunity. And I think your best bet in getting a ticket is buying far in advance. There are other ways, but if you can pre-plan a year in advance, that's your best bet in getting like a reasonably priced ticket.
I will say like as of right now, which is early July, there are lots of tickets for December right now. Not so much towards Christmas time because obviously like it's a hot
big tourist
show
season
for like holiday and tour season in London. And then like January, February is kind of dry right now. But like it seems like a lot of people that live in the UK, they have been like buying tickets for kids as like Christmas presents or like birthday presents. So people are buying like further out in advance. And then they're just like seeing it obviously like 6 or so months later because you got to wait for these things. That's the cheapest way to get it. If you're looking to spend whatever, you can buy a ticket probably for next week. But if you want to like spend cost price, you got to book
honestly
in advance.
Though, like 3 months before we went, we were looking at some dates.
They were expensive.
they were crazy expensive, and it was single seats.
Yeah, and like really obstructed.
Like, we would have, if it was like 2 seats that were like semi-reasonable or like expensive but not obstructed, I think we might have pulled the trigger at that at some point. But it was single seats. You know, we weren't sure of the view. We were on view from my seat, so we held off. And I'm very happy with how we ended up getting our tickets, but it was a risk to like leave it so late and kind of leave it in the hands of, I don't know, the internet
fate.
And fate and Tara's like
how fast my
cooking.
finger could click. Yeah, for anybody that hasn't listened to our last episode that was the London Theatre recap, or like a previous episode where we've talked about this, the way that we got to see Paddington was through the MasterCard Experience website, I want to say, is just where that is. If you Google Paddington and MasterCard, it will come up. But just to reiterate for anybody that is, you know, just finding us off of this episode and kind of interested, every month until October right now, I don't know if that will extend, but right now it's till October. The month before they release tickets, there is a date. They put out a date. It's typically the first Wednesday.
Right now, I'm on the website right now. It says the first Wednesday of each month for the following month's performance. So the next on sale.
Oh my God, I think it's tomorrow.
No, it already happened. It was
July 1st?
July 1st. It was July 1st.
Oh, crazy.
So the next on sale date will be, based on this, August 5th for September dates. And it already says July and August are sold out. So
right. It does still say till October?
It still says valid, experience is valid until 30th of October 2026.
So
15 tickets available per performance. And it's the front row.
And it's in the front row, yeah. So at this rate, like, you would be able to buy tickets for this for November, and then like that's it. That actually makes sense because December is like holiday high tourist time, so maybe that's why they're not doing like November for December for this year, but we don't know for sure.
Who knows? No one knows.
But yeah.
This is kind of, we've never used this site before to see theater.
But there is a lot of stuff on there. There was like a Hadestown experience when we were in London there as well.
Really? Yeah. It's really interesting. It's kind of, you know, we're always looking for something, a way to get a cheap ticket. And this is what it was this time.
I literally think I found it months ago by just typing like Paddington discount tickets. And then it led me to like a Reddit page. And then someone posted the link. And I was like, is this for everybody? Oh, we never said this because we actually did ask this on Reddit. This is open to everyone. It's not just for the UK. Like, we were obviously successful buying a UK ticket from Canada, but it's not like you need a UK MasterCard number. It is, if you have a MasterCard, you can participate in this. Yeah.
Yeah. You need any MasterCard. But
that's how we got those tickets. We sat in the front row. We saw this on a 2-show Wednesday. And I guess we'll start this the way that we start all of these episodes, which is, what is your, if any, pre-existing knowledge of Paddington?
So I guess I was vaguely familiar with the character of Paddington before, but I don't really remember reading the books growing up, to be honest. But when it really became like truly part of the consciousness is when they started making the movies, and everyone was talking about how great the first Paddington movie was. And then when people were really talking about is Paddington 2, which is the only Paddington film in the trilogy that I have currently seen. I will also say it is an iconic film, Paddington 2. I love it. My familiarity is with the movie Paddington 2. So I knew the character and knew that he was kind of a fish out of water in London living with a family. And I knew what like Paddington looks like, but I don't know if I knew Paddington's origin story. I don't know about his Peruvian origins.
His roots.
Tara, what's your familiarity with Paddington?
Literally none. My familiarity with Paddington is that I had never seen or read a piece of Paddington property before seeing this musical. And the only thing I did know is that there was the Paddington experience near the London Eye. Obviously, Paddington Station I knew of. Mm-hmm. And I've obviously, like, I'm here, so I know that, like, the movies exist. I had just never seen them. The thing that stood out to me was that, like, these movies have some of the highest ratings on Rotten Tomatoes out of all movies.
They're great.
So I've been part of that discussion many times with coworkers about how like Paddington 2, I think at one point was at 100%. I don't know if it's still there, but at one point it was for a long time at 100%. I did watch Paddington last night for the first time.
Wow.
And
what did you think of Paddington?
The animation is so good because it feels so real. This is a horrible comparison because I'm pretty sure I trashed it when we talked about it. But the animals look kind of how they looked in Wicked. But this is better. Like the Wicked ones look a little worse. But they're kind of like so realistic looking. Which we'll talk about like this version of Paddington that we saw, the musical, which is not that. But like Paddington is very real looking. And I guess that's because he's like living with humans. Anyway, I thought the movie was really good. I can see, obviously, why they wanted to make this a musical. There's, like, many things, and I will touch on certain things later, like, as we go through. I am happy, though, that I didn't see it before we saw the musical, because I just feel like, I mean, we're obviously going to get into this over the next, like, little bit, but I just feel like I had an experience at that musical that, like, will not be able to, like, trump the movie, I guess. But I can see why kids love it. I can see why it's, like, so wildly successful. Obviously, I also have not read the books. I think it's Michael Bond. Let me confirm.
Yes,
that it's like it is.
I have time for my prop. So, so
yes.
when we saw Paddington, as I was leaving, I was thinking about whenever one of my friends have a baby, I always get them a book. And so as I was leaving, I was like, oh my God, I need to buy a book for my friend's new baby. I was like, I should get them Paddington. So I have the book that I bought. I haven't given it to the baby yet. A Bear Called Paddington.
Peek.
This is the original, or like this is the, first Paddington book. This is the 100th anniversary edition, 100 years of Michael Bond. So there's Michael Bond with the original drawings by Peggy Fortnum. So we're all seeing this before I give it to this 2-month-old baby.
I don't think she's watching this, so it's fine.
She's not. And neither is her mother. So but it's honestly, it is a novel. Like, if we can see that, it's really not appropriate for a baby at all. But it's meant to be an heirloom. Okay. But I really was like, patting, like, it's a moment in time to commemorate. And now this baby will always be tied to me seeing Paddington. No.
Yes.
But I was like Paddington, I was so moved by Paddington that I was like, you know what, I need to buy my friend's new daughter the Paddington book. So it is a novel, so I think they'll have to like grow into Paddington a little bit. But something for their bookshelf to have. But I was like so moved by the show that I was like, well, I need to be purchasing Paddington for all children I know.
Yeah.
Which is what I've done.
All this to say, though, and I kind of said this in our last episode, we didn't really want to get into it, obviously, because we just wanted to give a recap and we wanted to, save all thoughts for this. I think I had said, like, this probably could have gone, like, one of two ways. It could have been, kind of bad and feel almost so cheesy, super corny.
It could have given Shrek a little bit. That's, like, the concern always.
And I don't know that I thought that it was going to give exactly this, because this is beyond. But I think that they are so super successful in what they've done here. And obviously this is a big team. It's not just one person that's like part of this. But I think, and I watched a few days ago, Mickey Joe Theater's review on Paddington. At the time, he had seen it twice. He saw like first preview and then I think went back for the media night. And he was just talking about how like Paddington is such a beloved character within the UK. And he said that he feels like this show will run for a decade. Like a lot of people are calling this like the next Matilda. And it will be around for as long
like a family show.
Yeah, like there's not that many family shows out there, but it's not even like, it's so hard to describe because it's not even that it's like such a super like children's show, because I think there are obviously moments in it for everybody, as I could literally cry talking about certain moments and maybe will while we're doing this episode. But like, I don't know. I think it's really exciting when you get when you get something right, like I think that's just it's exciting. It's exciting that something like this has taken off and that it's going to New York. We're so curious on how that will be on Broadway, but I think it's like really exciting all around what we're doing in a theater right now.
Yeah. No, I agree. I think there is so many moving parts in a musical like this. Like, just talking about this cast is huge. We have the puppet. The set is huge. There's so much budget in it that there's so many ways for it to go off the rails. And it really like steadily like stays the course, and just like all the pieces together create kind of a magical like piece of theater. And yeah, it's a great accomplishment. It's crazy because it debuted like straight on the West End. There was no like out of town or there was a preview process, but there was no, it was just like workshopped for years together before premiering directly on the West End, which is, you know, a huge like risk, I think. And for them to nail it so hard on a first attempt, it wasn't their first attempt, but they knew they were ready to go in front of the public, and they were. And yeah, it was crazy.
Like, as you can hear, just I think by the way that we're saying, like talking about it right off the bat here without, you know, getting fully into it. I mean, I won't speak for you, but I absolutely loved this. I was, again, shocked at how moved I was by something that I had like no investment in previously. But then I was thinking about it the other day, and the closest comparison that I could have to this, because I will say this musical, I think really plays on like nostalgia and makes magic on stage. And sometimes when you think of stuff like that, and obviously it's a bear, that like it could feel very childish. And the thing that like I kept thinking about is like the only comparison that I can have, and I mean this like so complimentary, is like walking into Disney World as an adult, when you're just like feeling like a kid again. Like you're sitting in a place where everything is so, don't get me wrong, the budget, huge on this show, like crazy. And the reason that I feel that way is because of the budget. Like, especially when that show first starts and we're in Mr. Gruber's toy place and you see all these different toys, there's something in there that everybody has played with once in their life. Whether you're a kid, whether you're an adult, whether you're like a grandparent, a parent, like it doesn't matter. So I feel like they really, scripting wise and also songs, really played on nostalgia so that everybody, whether you know the story or not, could like place yourself kind of in that situation of like, oh, this is what it felt like as a kid. And I love that.
I think something that's so clever that they do is how they introduce Paddington himself. And I think that's part of it. You're in this like store, Mr. Gruber's store of curiosities. And it's actually funny because we were obviously in London, and so we did a walking tour of Notting Hill. And
Steph,
so we
in the
got
movie,
to see,
we are in Notting Hill the whole movie.
Right? So we were in Notting Hill, and then so we got to see the storefront that Mr. Gruber's Curiosities is based on.
Which recently sold for, did he sell £4 million?
Something like that. 4 million, 3 million. What's
Someone
the real
can
store
clarify,
name? It's something,
you know, that for us. But I think a lot of people would like go when they visit Notting Hill, like they would take pictures in front of it because of Paddington.
Yes, but also it's been like a London staple for years and years and years. Sorry, it's Alice's.
Yeah, you're right.
Antique shop.
In the movie, it's obviously Mr. Gruber's.
Mr. Gruber's,
actually,
yes.
It says antiques on the outside still, but yeah.
But yeah, it was for sale last year, and I think it sold for like 3-point-something million pounds, which when you're Canadian, like just like times that by two. Times that by two. The real life Gruber, Douglas Carter, is selling his Notting Hill antique shop, which has been owned by the Carter family since 1952. It's a rare sale, as Alice's is one of the only 3 antique shops left on Portobello Road, which used to be packed full of stores selling second-hand bric-a-brac. The shop also started in the original 1969 Italian Job.
Oh,
wow. But yeah, so the cool part was you open Paddington the Musical by entering into the shop. They have the storefront there when you walk into the theater. And we're like,
Also,
oh my God,
sorry.
we saw this 2 days ago.
Yes, not to interrupt you, but I will say, please also know that our experience was in the front row. So that's already
100%.
so overwhelming.
100%.
So just think about that as well. Not to say that like this would be bad from another seat, but just like know that what we're saying is an experience from the front row. Yeah.
We're really immersed.
Sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, so we're in the store and we get welcomed into the store and you meet Mr. Gruber, but then you also meet kind of a young man who kind of enters and meets a bear and picks up this stuffed bear, and there's a little tag that says, please look after this bear, as we've been saying. And in that moment, kind of the back of the stage opens up and that tiny bear is replaced by...
No, not yet. Not yet. We go to the subway first and the full ensemble is crossing in the subway station. And then... Paddington Bear, like, approaches. So you kind of, as
the
entrance applause, might I add.
It's iconic. It's like 3 minutes into the show and everyone's like, wow, tears.
When we were at intermission, we were in line for the bathroom and these ladies were just talking about how when Paddington came out, they just cried. And I feel like the investment that I have now, I would probably feel the same way watching it again. But I can only imagine, like, a parent, a grandparent, like, that has been reading this to their kids, their grandkids, themselves, like,
there's
for
such
all
a
of
connection
these years.
London,
seeing that, like, is so emotional. It's so emotional. Yeah.
Yes, that just reminded me of how when we were in line for the bathroom, we had to go, like, outside into the back alley.
Yes. I think Patrick Wilson was there, but we're not confident. But I'm pretty sure he was.
Patrick Wilson walk by us. Yeah, like the line was so long to go to the bathroom that the back door opened up and the line went into the back alley. It was funny.
We were like in the stage door.
But yes, well, where were we even going with this?
Paddington, his entrance.
No, I know, but how did we get here from before that?
I had compared it to Disney World.
Yes. Oh, yes. The, sorry, I was like, what am I even talking about? I think this introduction really, like, lends itself to kind of entering from, like, the world that you and I know, where, you know, the young man picks up the bear, into kind of, like, Paddington's world. And so you kind of, that transformative element makes you feel like you're entering into this magical world, which you later learn throughout the show that it's, you know, a world very similar to the one, you know, we live in, except like a bear is there. But I think that adds that element of walking into a magical place and kind of going along with Paddington into this new world.
And I feel like this is kind of the time to say that, like, the Paddington that you might know from the movie is not what this version of Paddington looks like. So as I said, Paddington in the movie is like a very realistic animated version, almost very like CGI, what you would probably think of like a live action Disney movie these days. Like, that's kind of what Paddington looks like. Whereas this Paddington on stage resembles just a regular stuffed bear. And from what I've been like listening to and reading, this is so intentional because it was Jessica Swaley who wrote the book. She said that working with like the Paddington and puppet designer Tara Zaffer, that like their goal in this was that this bear could be placed in anyone's home. It could be a regular stuffed animal. It doesn't need to just be like Paddington. Obviously, like, we're all here for that. But for the people like me who's never watched Paddington, read Paddington, I can relate that to any stuffed animal I ever had growing up. So it's like, that's a really smart way. Also, it's so cute. Like, the costume is adorable. And it's... someone is in there. It is a little person that is in there. Artie is like the main person that does it. Let me get you her last name. Shaw, right? She's the one that's in it. We did not have her. We had Hassan Taj, who was in it the day that we were there. But and then it is the person that plays young man, who in most cases, unless he is off, played by James Hamid. And what we learned, we knew that James sung off stage, but we were like, who's doing the facial expressions? It's James backstage. There's basically like a board. There's an amazing article. I will link it on YouTube for people that are watching it there. There's an amazing article on The Guardian that talks about that. And James talks about he was in the workshop processes, and originally they had someone doing it separately, doing the facial expressions, and then when they asked him to do it, he was like, sick, I love video games, like I want to do this. But that means I was just gonna say, that means to me that there has to be like a video screen back there where you're watching Paddington to make sure that like everything is moving at the same speed.
Well, to me it makes more sense that the person who's singing is also operating the facial expressions, because you're time, like making those yourself. The mouth is opening. Okay, I'm opening the bear's mouth. Like, it should match, like, basically what I'm doing. And to be fair, the face, it does not do that much, really. Like, the mouth opens and closes, and the eyes are going a little bit. But for the most part, it's not going crazy.
The book writer was saying, like, the most that you would get is, like you're saying, like, we're blinking. So that's for sure happening. We have eyebrow movement and cheek movement. So that's why, especially in the hard stare, that's like the most expressive I think Paddington gets in the musical. But someone was also saying, it might have been Mickey Joe, it might have been somebody else, like, don't watch this and try to be like, oh my God, Paddington's mouth isn't moving at the exact same time as like what it's singing. Like, you need to suspend your disbelief slightly here.
It's very easy to do, good. Like, very quickly. What I will say is also the bear's kind of like resting face is like so sweet and adorable. That
like sweet is the number one word to use for this, I think.
It's just so kind of cute. So innocent. Even if like the mouth and the eyebrows and the eyes weren't moving, the face that they've designed for Paddington just like conveys so much emotion already. Yes. And they've done such a good job with this character design that they don't need to do so much in the facial movements. A lot is done with the physicality of the performer, like the onstage performer in the costume. Creating, you know, especially because we were in the front row, so we were seeing the facial expressions. But if you're at the back of, you know, the dress circle, the balcony, you're not necessarily seeing like a minute eyebrow movement of on a 4-foot tall bear, you know. But the physicality of the performance,
one that stands out to me, which I feel like we talked about at intermission, like when he gets into the bed, like he's holding a sheet and getting into the bed and tucking himself into bed. Like, this is amazing stuff that we're seeing.
Paddington needed help getting onto there was one point near the end where he was like getting onto the step or getting off the step, and like Jonathan, the little boy, had to like help Paddington on the step.
There's a lot of hand holding, I will say, with the cast members in Paddington. Even like if you watch our Bow video, we'll obviously like post this again when this episode comes out, but like whoever is playing Paddington, whoever's playing James, like they walk out together hand in hand and then walk back together hand in hand, because you need a little bit of guidance.
I'm wondering what the visibility is like in there.
I know, like, we don't have the videos for London, but like maybe New York will be like, let's do a deep dive on the costume. I'm like dying to see how we put the costume mechanics together. I'm so curious on that. Something I wanted to say too, I was watching a YouTube short with Tom Fletcher, who we'll talk about him, who wrote you know, the music for this musical. And he was saying that, so he's in a band, McFly, which I had no idea that they're like so successful in the UK. Like super successful in the UK. And he was saying that the first preview, there was a McFly concert, and he went to Paddington first preview because at this point he said no images of Paddington were out online. So he really wanted to be in an audience when people saw what they've been working on for all these years in person. He saw it, he cried, and then he ran to the tube and he got to his like gig.
He made it too.
I think he was going to the O2.
That's funny. I was gonna say, the only thing I really know McFly from, like, again, we're not British, they're very British, is, do you remember the movie Just My Luck starring Lindsay Lohan?
Yes, of course.
Chris Pine? Like, Chris Pine is McFly's manager in this movie.
Okay, I don't remember that.
The concert at the end is a McFly concert.
Okay, so I listened to Tom Fletcher on the Savoy Originals podcast, which I'm assuming is related to the Savoy Theater. And he was originally part of Busted.
I saw that. I listened to like 10 minutes of that, but go on.
And then like Busted said, we want to be a trio. So he was like kicked out. But then if I remember correctly, like there was a tour. This was when like One Direction was still together because like they were fans of McFly and Busted. The only thing I know about Busted is they were the original people to do Year 3000. That's what I know about Busted. Yep. But where I was going with this, I don't know what year it was, but it was when One Direction was still touring. They did a McBusted tour, which was McFly and Busted.
That's so stupid.
Anyway, all this to say, Tom Fletcher needed to see an audience reaction to Paddington, which I think is like, that would be me too. I'd be like, no, I gotta see what people are thinking about this. And he said it was like the greatest decision he's ever made and still made it on time to play. So that's really all that matters.
I was reading an article on the Rolling Stone about Paddington. It's an interview with Tom Fletcher. And they were speaking about when they first met Paddington Bear, like as he appears in the show. And I'll read the quote that he gave. He said, "It was the most surreal moment of my life. Myself, Jess, and Luke were in this." So Jess Swale, the book writer, and Luke Shepard, who we will also talk about, the director. So myself, Jess, and Luke were in this rehearsal room, and we've been told that when Paddington walks out, the rules are that you talk to Paddington like he's Paddington. We had streams of tears coming out of our eyes, and it was overwhelming. One of the first times we felt that this is going to be incredible. And I think like everyone feels that when you see him.
Well, do you remember when we first saw those pictures? We were like, oh my God, this is the greatest costume I've ever seen in my entire life. At first we were like, oh my God, this is the greatest puppet we've ever seen, not realizing that there was actually a person in there. But what they have been able to achieve, and again, I know that like Tom Fletcher says that this was a 5-year like process for him specifically, so I can only imagine the versions of Paddington, the costume that they do have, and like trying different things. I wonder if there was a conversation about it being a puppet originally and not being
or
a
like
person.
Being operated by someone on the outside, potentially the way like Warhorse or
like
the Lion
Olaf,
King or something.
Or I'm trying to think of like something
like more Disney-ified.
else.
Or if it was someone kind of like SpongeBob style, like
in
an outfit that suggests Paddington versus.
If it was like that, I don't think it would be the same.
No. I think they've created something.
Part of the magic is obviously this
iconic,
unbelievable costume. Yeah.
And that you're able to suspend disbelief, and like 2 minutes in, you're like, okay, and now a bear is in London. Like that's that.
Yeah. Yeah. So Mickey Joe Theater, I think, put it in such a good way because, like, as we were saying, James has voiced Paddington, Olivier Award winning. Him and Artie, like, split an award for this, which I think is, like, so nice.
I was watching their speech earlier today, and, like, as soon as it started, I started crying.
I know.
But I was really interested because it was for like lead actor in a musical. So Artie and James were nominated together in lead actor. So that was interesting. And when they gave the speech and James Hamid said, like, he thanked his, I'm going to cry now. He thanked his father who was like Paddington, who like came to London. And I was like, that's so true. That like,
no, I will. And like to go off of what you're saying here again in this Guardian article, they talked to James and, part of it says, I'll read it. It says, for many of the team, the bear holds an emotional resonance that goes beyond nostalgia for bedtime stories. And then this is a quote by James. Paddington means something different to everybody. My father came over in the 70s from Pakistan looking for a home. For my British mom, Paddington was manners, tea, and marmalade sandwiches. For my dad, he was a visual representation of his story. And I think you can see that as soon as they hold hands together off the top of this show. And what I was saying, we're trying to say earlier was like Mickey Joe Theater says it in a way of like, you never question it because it's almost like when you're pairing your Bluetooth headphones to your computer. It's like James and Artie are Bluetooth pairing to become one. And then when he leaves and Paddington stays on, like, as you were saying, you don't have to think much about it because it's just like, you're just like, here's the bear. Here's this talking bear, because like literally that's what happens in the movie too. Like it's so they're like don't talk to. It's so Mr. Brown is like, please don't talk to strangers, as like Paddington is like sitting there.
Yeah, no one's like,
no one's like, wait, a talking bear here. But in the movie, they actually kind of explain that he says, I don't remember if he says it in the musical too, because I will say a lot of that script verbatim, I was shocked at how much of it was like so same. But Paddington says to the Brown family, because she was like, oh my God, like you must be so far away from home. And also like, you're a talking bear. Like what's going on? And he says, there's only like a few of us left that can do this.
Right.
So it was like his Aunt Lucy, who like we know about in the musical. But then his uncle like tragically dies in the beginning of the movie.
That's why he has to go to That's why he has to go to London, because he can't take care of him anymore.
We don't see the death scene in the musical, but we do see it in the movie.
Do you really? Yeah. That's so funny. I do want to like bring back just like one more thing about James Hamid talking about like his family. I don't know if you've been on his TikTok, but
we also saw him in Just for One Day. Sorry,
we did. We'll get to that because there's more Just for One Day talk to come.
Oh my God, please.
So I was on James Hamid's TikTok and he shared a video from April 2025 where he was able to tell his family like what he'd been working on for the past few years. And he said like they didn't know that he had been like working on being Paddington. And so his like whole family's like around a table. He's like, I can tell you finally what I've been working on. He's like, I am Paddington. And they're all like, and he's like, and I've been given permission to play you this song. And he like presses play on The Explorer and the Bear. And then they're all just like crying around the table, just like passing tissues to like the whole family. Because can you imagine?
No, I'm literally crying right now.
No, I know. I've been crying all day. You grow up in London and like Paddington is so, an iconic
This is the thing.
character.
Like, I just think like I really need to like hit home on the fact that like 3 weeks ago, I knew nothing about this bear, and now I'm sitting publicly crying on the internet. Like, I just need to like say that.
I knew Paddington.
The other thing too is that Paddington, the costume, wears the label, the "Please look after this bear," and then also in this Guardian article, the designer says that on the bottom of Paddington's paws, which like I don't know if any of us can see it, but it says made in Peru. And they did that like for the team as like a little fun fact. But she was like, it's very subtle, but I just wanted it to be there because like that's where he's from. And yeah, it is like, I think that is also, a reason why, as we were saying earlier, like, who is this for? Obviously, like the kids will get it, but this is an immigrant experience story at the end of the day. And that's why I think it's hitting home for so many adults too. There are so many people sitting in that London audience. And when it goes to Broadway, when,
Anywhere.
a very tourist place that like will be able to relate to that experience. And yeah, I just think like they really nailed it. We haven't even talked about so many things. We haven't talked about the music, which truly to me, like, this is the star of this show. I just like cannot believe what Tom Fletcher was able to achieve. Like, I'm shocked that these songs are as good as they are. There is I have to find it. I did save it, but like Carrie Hope Fletcher is a West End actress.
Tom Fletcher's
Tom's
sister.
You might know her from playing Veronica and Heathers. She actually has done like a million things. She most recently, her vlogs, the relationship drama. That's when I really knew of Carrie Hope.
I know, that's when we locked in. That's truly when we locked in, but go on.
Yeah. And then she most recently, I don't know if it's still on or if it recently ended, but she was Jenna in Waitress in the UK tour. Anyway, she has such a nice post on Instagram opening night of Paddington saying, her and Tom grew up listening, and he talks about this in the Savoy Originals podcast as well, that they were a very like musical family. And she said, she was waiting for her brother to come back to like their roots, for lack of a better term, and she never imagined this. Like, let's just say that. I don't think he imagined this. Did you get to the part where he talked about when he first started writing for this?
No, I had read it in other places, but I don't think I got to an in-depth part. So we talked about it quite in depth here.
I was listening to this podcast. Tom Fletcher is like such a fun listen. He seems like the nicest person ever. If you don't know him from McFly, he is also an author for a lot of like children's books. So you might know that as well if you're in the UK. But he went to theater school. So he is like not a stranger to this world, obviously. And the man that was hosting the podcast was saying like, when did you know that, you wanted to do something or that you were into musical theater? And he said he saw Joseph at the Palladium when he was 8 years old. And then he actually played Oliver at the Palladium.
Wow.
When he was a kid. So that kind of is where he caught that bug. Then he went to a theater school. That's where he met his wife. But then he started, he got the call, and the call was, are you interested in potentially writing for a Paddington musical? And he was like, well, what person would say no to that? Obviously, yes, I'm interested. And his oldest son, is getting into acting, and he was actually in Starlight Express, the most recent Starlight Express.
Directed by Luke
Shepherd. And he said that he would drop off his son, and then he would wait for him in like a car parking lot, and that's where he wrote Paddington. Every day he would drop off his son and he would just write. And his audition, for like lack of a better term, song that he wrote was Marmalade, and it stayed.
I can imagine that. That makes sense to me, that it was Marmalade. That's what they did at the Olivier Awards. It's just like, if you take one thing from Paddington that like is quintessential, and it's Marmalade. Yes,
I swear they were pumping orange scent into that theater. Like,
they might have been. I had read that he was saying basically he found out he like for sure got the job when he'd written about 4 or 5 songs, and that all of those first songs made it into the show. So I wonder what
and
other
also to that
people were trying out.
All of the songs that were sent in, his kids did the demos for.
Oh, cute.
So like
cute.
His kids were Paddington at one point, because like he was asking like, this is obviously like such a big character that your kids must be interested in. Like, did you play them stuff? He was like, well, actually they are on all of the demos. So like they've been a part of the it's been like a family affair from the very beginning, which I also think is so sweet, because the show is obviously of that nature.
This is the demographic that, I mean, to be honest, I think Paddington is for everyone. I don't think there's like an age limit on who Paddington is for, but truly Paddington is like a family story. It's like a family of 4 that is at the heart of this story. And then they bring Paddington into their family, and then there's their cast of characters around them.
I love how 45 minutes of the story is when we're giving this synopsis. But yes, you're so right.
There's like kind of a nuclear family of 4 right at the center of this story. And so Tom Fletcher's family, is the exact demographic that Paddington is for. And so to have someone who's like experiencing that exact stage of life, that let's say like the dad in this story or the mom, and have his kids who are maybe like the kids in Paddington, be the ones like at the inception of it, gives it some like authenticity and heart that might not be there with other like writers.
All that to say, when we first started talking about the music, I said that, this score is so good, and I truly mean that. I feel like this score is so, again, I mean this like in the most positive way ever. It's so like emotionally charged. It makes you feel so much. And it sets the tone perfectly. I thought it was so interesting because, there's a lot of different genres, I would say, of like music that they experiment with within this score. The most different is like the Rhythm of London. And I was like, where is this coming from? But in the movie, there is like a Latin band that is playing outside the streets of Notting Hill. And I was like, oh, this is where this is from. Like every time when the Brown family is coming back from Paddington Station, Paddington rolls down the window and hears them playing. We see like them in another moment. The movie ends with like a snowball fight. The band is playing. So it's like, oh, this is where the Rhythm of London is coming from. It's like talking about, mixing different cultures, that London is a place for everybody. And it was like, that's where we hear that. So it's interesting because even when I was watching the movie, there's certain scoring. There's like, oh, I can hear a bit of tone here of what like Tom was trying to emulate. Something else that he says in this podcast is that the most important thing to him was that he wanted to sort of make a score that felt like something he loved as a kid. And he said that he grew up listening to like the Sherman Brothers and Mary Poppins. And he wanted it to feel kind of like that. So that was like the inspiration for the scoring of Paddington. And just to go through like some of the songs here, I think like the overture, Mr. Gerber's Curiosities, is like such a good way to open that, obviously, into, the big moment of Paddington when we get the like, Paddington, which like is, a motif throughout the show. I think like Tom Fletcher followed kind of the mold of like how to create a perfect musical score here of like theming, motifs, good one of the best villain songs maybe ever. We'll come back to that. And just like using all of the right tools. There's many reprises on this score. I really think that this is like really, really strong music at the end of the day.
Yes, it's so much fun. Every song, I didn't feel really there were many dud moments from songs in this show. There are some moments where I felt, okay, are we like slowing down a little bit? Or I was like, okay, I guess. But for the most part, there's no songs that you're like, why are we still here? Every song, you know, has energy, even when you're slowing it down a little bit, has like an energy and a drive that's driving the story forward. And it felt like it was so new, but also it felt very like familiar in a way that like just it felt like a comfort story, like a comfort watch the whole time, that you felt like you were in a world that you already like belonged to and understood.
I think a song that was so fun on stage, like so early, Don't Touch That. And that's really where the budget came into play. Because we were like,
that's just like
God.
a set piece. Like they fully used the set to its full potential in this moment.
A bathtub comes out from the ceiling. We have bubbles. There was pyro.
Everything's breaking apart.
Things are breaking. Basically... At the end, remember when like the fireworks basically went off at the end there? Crazy.
It was hot. We were in the front row, so it was hot.
We were in the front row. But yeah, and then I feel like now is the time because it's like, you know, at a midpoint of the first act here is when we meet our villain, Millicent Clyde, who is played by Olivier-winning actress Victoria Hamilton-Barrett. What
for
a
this
freaking star! What a star! Like literally for this. Pretty Little Dead Things, one of the greatest villain songs ever written for a musical. And I believe that.
No, it's so good. It's so catchy. My favorite part, when they're like, Peruvian.
I knew it.
Peru. It's so funny. We're like, Peruvian.
The ensemble is used in really smart ways in the chorus of certain songs. Yeah.
I love even just the characterization of Millicent Clyde in that
so good.
She... you know, so much comparison to like a Disney movie, but that's kind of the hallmark of what like great children's and family entertainment is. But that she's like villainous, but in kind of like a fun, even though she's like killing animals, in like a fun
she's a taxidermist.
She's a taxidermist in like a fun, like cartoonish, over the top way. So it never feels like too real, let's say.
The men in the row behind us were obsessed with her. Someone was saying, because I was reading a review, they were like, she has this amazing leg kick whenever she like leaves the stage. She's like always like flicking her back leg up. She's so over the top in the best possible way. I played my mom her singing Pretty Little Dead Things on like a charity show that she was on, and mom was like, oh, this feels like Cruella, which I think is such a good comparison. She's like evil but fun.
Evil but fun, like fun evil. The comparison that I was thinking of today is from The Emperor's New Groove, like
oh my
Yzma.
God, yes, so good.
Like
love her.
This like kind of like fashion, like like queen, just I don't know, sassy, so fun. Just like a perfect like female fun villain. What's the comparison to Nicole Kidman in the movie? Like, is it a similar characterization as well?
There's a lot more that she does in the musical than in the movie. But Nicole's great in it. There's a moment when she like
Bob.
like a really sleek blonde bob with bangs. There's a moment when she like they find, because Mr. Curry in the musical, Mr. Curry plays like kind of different characters in the movie, not just like one character, whereas
it's
in the
like
movie,
a combination that creates Mr. Curry.
In the movie, Mr. Curry is just like the above neighbor, and he like just hates everything. So he calls they like meet each other kind of in the same way as they do in the musical, but then he calls her in the movie and he's like, the bear is alone. And she was like, what? He's like, the bear is alone. So then she like comes down on a wire like into the house. Paddington is playing with a roll of like scotch tape, and then he like tapes himself up, and she calls the house phone because she wants to shoot him with like the dart that makes you sleep. I don't know what those things are, but whatever, like in the neck, like to make you sleep. Yeah, tranquilizer. And he can't like unravel himself from the tape. But then it turns out that the house goes on fire. Like, it's a whole thing. But
That's funny.
Like, the way that it kind of ends in the musical is the same way like the pigeons attack at the end as well.
Wow.
And then like Mrs. Bird kind of saves the day, which is also very similar to what happens in the musical. I like watching Victoria play that character. I'm like, that woman ate up every piece of scripting that she was given, and a well-deserved Olivier. I hope, I don't know for sure, but if they're gonna bring someone over from the West End to Broadway, like, bring her. She has a pretty like stacked resume as well, so it would be nice to see. Kind of, we talked about this in London, of like maybe they do the Operation Mincemeat treatment and, you know, have some of these people come over for a short amount of time and then, you know, switch to an American cast. But I would love for her to come over to the States, because I feel like people should watch that performance.
It will probably be like the ensemble for the most part will probably be like cast locally, but
yeah,
I can see them bringing over like James and RT, maybe her, maybe again
Mr. Curry,
who plays Mr. Curry, like
Tom Eden,
like, you know, who won an Olivier for this part, like bring them over, let's say. But then, you know, I can see them like recasting the family, like the parents. For sure. I think those would be, you know, they're great in the show, but I think it'd be like someone easy to find.
You cast Betsy Wolfe in this role, so
I did. So the actors we saw an understudy for Mrs. Brown.
We saw Amy Fisher, yeah.
And when I saw her, I was like, wait, why is this giving Betsy Wolfe? Like, she just gave Betsy Wolfe. In a bob. So yeah, that's what I was thinking the whole time I was seeing it. I actually really loved Amy Fisher in this part. I thought she was like so
good. I literally
so
everybody
good,
in this
like, so
cast
sweet.
Was so good. Yeah, she was so sweet.
Who was in the family? We saw Oliver Goodman, I believe, as our Jonathan. There's like 4 kids.
Obsessed.
He was so cute.
He's so cute. So little.
So little. Oh my God, so funny. Who else did we see? Who was our...
the Judy's at the very bottom of the cast.
I'm scrolling.
I saw her earlier.
Oh, Kira Weber as our Judy.
Yeah. And then our people. Mr. Brown was Adrian Dare Gregorian, who looks different on his picture than he does in real life, because we looked at this at intermission. I have to say, him and I had a moment in the final song of Paddington, which is like, it's emotional because Paddington, spoiler, actually, we haven't even talked about like the crazy, I feel like we haven't talked about anything and we've been here for an hour, but I could talk about the show all day. But there's a moment when like Paddington is finally like accepted with the Brown family, blah, 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 blah. They're having like a party and Paddington is like giving a speech and everybody is in tableau at the back. Me doing a double tear wipe and Dad is staring directly in my eyes. And in the moment, for like a split second, I was like, this is so embarrassing. And then I was like, wait, this probably happens every day.
Every
like,
day.
He probably
like,
sees this
just
every
like
day.
Looking past. He's like, who cares?
But he literally couldn't have been staring in my eyes harder as I'm wiping my tears away.
He just had to like pick a spot and focus. Yeah, like the whole ensemble's on stage like frozen at a birthday party. It's like right
and the whole front row is crying. Like the row behind us, everyone's crying.
Everybody's crying.
Yeah,
every single person there was crying.
It was so
can
funny.
I talk about my favorite performance in the show?
Yes,
my favorite
please.
actor performance, and it's Amy Booth Steele as like the head of the Geographers Guild. Are you a member? Are you a member? Are you a member?
She also plays like many other characters in this musical.
She's at like the she's at the train station when Paddington first gets there. She's the voice, and she's also like does not care. Paddington's like, no, can you help me? And she's like, no.
She makes an announcement of like the trains are delayed because there's a leaf on the tracks. And it's just like, oh wow, like London.
It's so
same relatable. As Toronto. She also is so the funny. One that like misses her entrance for Marmalade. And comes on in a
like
sandwich
a scene transition.
Outfit.
She's like Marmalade.
She
was such a standout for me.
And she has a huge song like at the end of the musical. The Geographers Guild is what the song is called. Guild.
There's like a full ensemble of geographers that come out.
Yeah. So basically like her role, she's also, you know, the subject of Paddington's Hard Stare, which is a big moment.
Yes. That's actually, if I had to pick my favorite song from the whole musical, it's Hard Stare. I don't know.
Really?
Like, that's what I've been like singing. Like, a hot stare. It was like so funny.
It happens in the movie too, but it only happens with Paddington and Mr. Brown. It's not like there isn't
Like,
really a
created,
geographer's
like, a whole
guild.
moment. Even like the moment where where he like teaches Judy how to like speak bear, and they're like
The roaring,
"Roar."
yeah.
That's my favorite part.
Yeah.
Roar.
It's so good, but basically, like, Paddington and Mrs. Brown, Mary, I think is her name, they go to Mr. Gruber's together because they think that he can help find out more information with Paddington's hat, and he can. So it turns out that, like, there was an explorer that was in Peru, and that's kind of where the song, like, Explorer and the Bear comes from. I already said this, but like, what a phenomenal musical theater song. Oh my God, Steph, I have to send you. There was a little boy that sang this at like an audition somewhere, or like a performance, and he was wearing a Paddington outfit, and I liked it on TikTok, and I cried obviously watching it, because I was like, wait, kids across the world are going to be singing this song, and it was so sweet. It's such a wholesome moment. There's a video of, it's at Strictly, it's Tom Fletcher and Paddington, which I know you've seen because you liked it today. But Tom Fletcher is singing it alone at first, and then he calls on Paddington, and then they hold hands and sing it together. Me crying. Like, every time I watch that, cry. James
Hamid posted that video, but also with a little video of himself singing it in the corner, like off stage.
I like, when we first came back and I started to listen to this, like, I would listen to this on the way to work, literally tearing up. It's just like a really emotional song, and it instrumentally, it's very powerful. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful song. But the song that I am obsessed with, and I swear it is going to be my number one song played this year, because there have been many days in the last 2 weeks that it is the only thing that I have been listening to. It will end, I'll start it again, start it again. The Act 1 finale, One of Us. I am so obsessed with it because it brings together Explorer and the Bear. It's also like, this is the moment when Paddington leaves. This is also, I feel like, when I cried for the first time in this show. Paddington leaves, and he leaves behind a sandwich for Mr. Brown, because, like, a marmalade sandwich in case of emergencies. And
this is after he's, like, caused a huge issue at the work dinner.
After,
which that's all we'll say. That's all we'll say about that.
Features a really fun fog moment by Jonathan.
Like, dry ice.
Yes, causes a big problem. And he's also being, like, summoned by Millicent, like, she's trying to stuff him. Sorry if that wasn't clear. She is missing one major item in her taxidermy catalog, and it's a Peruvian bear. Exactly. So Paddington leaves, and I'm going to read the lyrics out because, my God, like, are these so emotional from Mrs. Brown. But she says, "From the moment I saw his face, the second I heard his voice, something fell into place like I never had a choice. Didn't know we were incomplete, but it was so obvious. He's looking for family. He's already one of us." And as she's singing this is also when she's, like, drawing the wanted poster for Paddington because he's missing, which, like, damn, I'm so upset we don't have one of those. I'm, like, so upset about this because they threw it into the audience.
They kind of went, like, over our heads.
Yeah, it did. She sings it, and it's so beautiful that she sings it, but then it does, like, my favorite thing in an Act 1 finale is when we, like, layer all of the songs that we've, like, heard previously, and then, like, as she's singing this, I'm gonna play my favorite part, which is, like, the bridge. Paddington comes in to sing, like, The Explorer and the Bear at the exact same time, and it's so emotional, like, as it's happening, and then also at the same time, yeah, go ahead.
I was gonna say, at that point, is that when James is also, like, joining on stage as well?
Not quite yet, because Paddington has to go to Millicent's house first, because she, like, tells him where to go. But even that, the detail that Tom Fletcher put into that as well, her doorbell is the instrumental of Pretty Little Dead Thing. It's like da-da-da-da-da-da as he's ringing the doorbell. And then he does the opt up of The Explorer and the Bear while he's holding hands with James. And I am a mess in the front row of the audience. Like, it's so good. I think that song is, what a cliffhanger, I know. Because then it's an immediate blackout. And you're like, oh my God. And then in Act 2, obviously, we're trying to save Paddington. Where's Paddington? From all around, everywhere.
Where is Paddington? Yes, that was like a super exciting moment. You know, when they're looking for Paddington and, you know, they're in the balcony, they're in the dress circle, they're beside us, they're in one of the boxes, kind of searching for him using the sign. Yeah, it was so much fun to like have it like surround us in that moment.
And then we get to like the most dramatic part of all of this is when we're like kind of at the Natural History Museum, which is where they have him. Well, first he eats a marmalade sandwich. We sang Marmalade, which we already talked about. An amazing performance by Mr. Curry in that moment. And he's like chained to a tree in the Natural History Museum. We have a lot of like interludes here with Mrs. Bird. Although I will say one of my favorite songs in this entire show is the song that Mrs. Bird sings with Mr. Brown, Worth the Work. It takes work to make love work. What a beautiful ballad. Like, obsessed with that. And then that also comes back in the finale when the ensemble sings like He'll Always Be One of Us. I'm literally like crying so much at this point. That's when we're making the eye contact is in that moment. But
we're in tough love.
So she has him like chained up to the tree, whatever. Paddington has like another moment. Then we get like her assistant guy to like end up helping. There's like so much that happens here. This is really when it felt like true adventure musical to me, which was so fun. And then the family ends up going through like the sewers, which is again what happens in the movie. And they get to Paddington. The way that they find him is through the roar. Judy has now learned how to roar.
Exactly.
So she can find out where Paddington is with her roar.
My favorite.
And yeah, then we get the most dramatic moment. I can't remember what you did, but I remember I gasped so loudly.
I don't know.
When Paddington was shot with the bow and arrow. I was like, oh my God, spoiler. But I was like, he's dead. I can't believe we're killing this bear in this musical.
Like, oh my God.
And then like he's lying on the ground. It's such a dramatic thing too, because you see the arrow and then Paddington like slow motion goes down. I was like, we're watching a movie right now. This is cinema that we are watching right now happen on stage, live in a theater. And it turns out that Paddington had in his jacket Mr. Gruber's like tin that had a Polaroid photo of the entire family and him in it. So, you know, love just saved
him. Family saved him.
And then we have a party in Paddington where it's a birthday hat at the end. It's iconic.
No, honestly, yeah, like it does structurally, and this is direct from the movie to be fair, but it does structurally what makes so many like, again, Disney movies work so well in that you have kind of a countdown, a deadline in which something needs to happen. So it like builds suspense and tension. And so you can cut from scene to scene to scene. Everyone is on the exact same timeline. So we've got Paddington who's trying to escape. You've got what's her name? Millicent Clyde, who's trying to like make sure she's got this bear so she can complete her collection. We've got the Brown family who's trying to like search for Paddington. You've got everybody else who's also searching for Paddington. So you have this like kind of everything is building up to one moment, and it's helpful, especially for I think like something that's targeted towards families, towards children, to like have an understanding of like, okay, what is the climax going to be is when we like save Paddington, find Paddington. It's not meandering. It's like, okay, we have like a goal in mind and this like countdown deadline that builds the tension and builds the excitement to this like climactic moment. And it does it so well. And it's a hard thing to do, to intercut from scene to scene and location to location on stage. Like when everyone is watching in front of everyone.
When I say it was cinematic, like I mean that, because this is what I have wanted every Disney theatrical to feel like. And none of them have felt like this. They did it right, in my opinion.
Yeah. Yeah.
I'm trying to think if there's a Disney theatrical that I've seen that has like followed, like you're saying, a movie structure like so successfully. I don't think there is one. Sorry, Disney.
Yeah. And also maybe because it's like live action versus a cartoon, that it's just like a different, you know, beast to adapt here. But yes, it just really, the adaptation is great, and the way that the energy is built throughout the whole musical just is so successful to have the audience like on your side the whole time. Yeah.
And then we end in a party. We sing Missing Beat, which is such a fun song. What would we do without you? you, as he's like bopping around in his little birthday hat. It's just like so sweet. I feel like I had heard someone say that this is like such a delightful musical. I feel like that is the perfect word to describe this. It is so delightful, so wonderful, adorable. It's so good. My one wholesome. My one note, if I had like a big note here, there's a lot of characters and they all have their own like solo songs. And when we're getting to like assistant singing It's Never Too Late at like the 11th hour, like we could maybe trim that.
This is the thing. It's long. And for us, I will say like it moved, but we're in our 30s. If you're bringing a 6-year-old to this is a long show.
Oh yeah.
It's long. We also saw a 6:30 p.m. performance. Like it was like for the kids.
After watching a 3-hour performance of Oliver,
we
2
were
hours
Oliver
before
that afternoon. We literally had like no time in between. Yeah, my notes I would say is it's a little bit long. There's like moments in Act 2 where I would say like we're dipping a little bit. Like
we haven't even given credit to Mrs. Bird, who really sings so much in Act 2. I
love her.
It's Never Too Late. It's Never Too Late reprise. Worth the work.
Song.
Worth
She's
the
high
work
kicking.
Reprise. Her
like she's great.
Let me find her. She was Bonnie Langford, who they reference Cats. She was in the original Cats, I feel, in the West End. Is that what they were saying? Something like that.
Well, they like joked like who would be in Cats, but like it's her.
Right. She's been in Les Mis. She's been around. Like she's an icon, like, doing a high kick for her bow at the end.
The bows are so funny when they like because there's so many different characters.
The bows are also 10 minutes.
The bows are so long. Every featured character gets to like come out and do their own like little like thing for their bows,
the
which
pigeon
takes
on his head.
So long.
Like our favorite bow is Grant, the assistant that comes out.
Like, I forgot about you.
Which we saw an understudy. We actually saw many understudies on this Wednesday. Because again, we talked about this previously, but with no like programs, there's no slips. And we didn't see the board because we were too excited to just like get into our seats. But we saw many understudies, but everybody, as I said earlier, was so good. Like there was not a single actor in this show that I was like, wish we saw someone else. I thought everybody was like, top notch.
Everyone was so
and we
great.
don't really know these people. Like when we see shows on Broadway, we have, either seen these actors previously or we know a lot about them. We don't really know any of these people at all. So to like have such a good experience from that, like everybody was so super talented. The family, little Jonathan, obsessed with you the most.
Little Jonathan,
truly.
He was so cute. He was so cute. If I had another note, I was kind of
This is our note section.
This is our note section. I thought the mom cartoon comic book storyline was a little bit
like that.
I thought it was like a bit clumsy a little bit. And then when they projected the comics all on the stage, I was like, okay, we don't have to do that.
I think so it's funny because in the movie, she's not a comic book artist. She's just like an artist. And it's funny because like her hero in the musical is Judy. Like she says that she
Jude.
Yeah. But in the movie, like the person that she can't figure out who to draw the hero is like Mr. Brown. I was like, well, Judy is a much better subject than Mr. Brown.
No, it's stronger for it to like be her daughter and like have that relationship. But
we also haven't even talked about the other two side characters of like Tony and his mom.
Oh, and that's another thing. Here's another note. What happened to Tony and his mom? Like we introduced a love story with like Tony and Judy, and that's never addressed again. Like
kind of same in the movie, to be honest.
And like it's fine. It's like it's kind of a funny comparison, but I was thinking a lot of like Gilmore Girls watching this, where you have this like small town with like a huge cast of quirky characters, and you're not necessarily like not everyone's story is going to get fully resolved by the end. Each of them, you're just meeting them for some additional like color on the background, like fill out the city of London. Like
are Judy and Tony together in Paddington too?
I literally don't recall. I can't. It wasn't an impactful part of Paddington 2 if they were. Tara's never seen Paddington 2. I've never seen Paddington 1, to be fair. But we spend a lot of time in Paddington 2 with Paddington in prison. So
I gotta watch it next.
You do. It's
on Crave.
Hugh Grant, an iconic performance.
I have heard that Paddington in Peru, the third one, is like not as good as the other two, but
it's a different director. It's a different director.
But like now that I'm like on the train, I think I have to be here for the full ride. You know what I mean?
We haven't even talked about Luke Shepherd here, really. Because we have to kind of talk about him because we've seen so much of his work.
Yeah, the one thing I will say, because I was like, last episode, I was so upset when we didn't talk to him about it. But to be honest, Paddington hadn't started on stage yet. So I'm not sure what we could have talked about.
Right. We could have just been like so excited.
Congrats on Paddington.
Yeah, we have to talk about Luke Shepherd because obviously we have seen his, I think, seminal work in Juliet like many times. We're fans. But we've seen some other shows as well.
Also, wait, before you continue on that, an update is Anne Juliet is closing early. We haven't talked about this on the podcast, but if you want to see Anne Juliet in Toronto, August 2nd is the last day. So just know that. Go on.
We've also seen his show In Dreams.
Yeah, we did. That was marked as pre-Broadway that season, and I'm sorry, but it wasn't.
Ever happened. Well, I'm on his website, and In Dreams, you know where In Dreams played before it was in Toronto? In Leeds. So
that one also had like, I mean, a jukebox musical.
That was crazy.
He loves to like work with similar people, though. I will say he seems like a really loyal person, which is nice.
Like a creative team. Then we have to talk about Just for One Day because we saw that here in Toronto, and I was
a transformative experience for you specifically.
It was a transformative experience for me. And James Hamid was in that. So, like,
he was.
I'm wondering if that was, I wonder what came first, Just for One Day or Paddington for him, because if he's been working on Paddington since 2022, you know, yeah. And then, you know, things we haven't seen, Starlight Express, My Son's a Queer.
Yeah,
like,
apparently also
Little Big Things, which we heard great things about. And now Paddington, which he won the Olivier for.
He's also quite young, or he looks quite young. When we met him in person, I was like, oh, you look so young. Mickey Joe Theater compared him to having, like, in a totally, absolutely different way, but kind of at the same time, having the same career, but differently as Jamie Lloyd. They're both kind of just, like, steadily working and having projects come out at the same time. Oh, my God. Like, not even...
Different
like, a Jamie Lloyd Paddington would be wild. And a Luke Shepherd Sunset Boulevard would be wild. So, like, we can't even compare the projects.
I just don't think...
timeline, basically.
Yeah, they probably have a similar age. So I'm reading Luke Shepherd is around 40-ish years old. So what a career he's had already.
Yeah, it's so impressive.
Young. And, yeah, he had said he wasn't born yet during the Live Aid concert in 1985. That's the only information we have about his age.
Love that.
So
he was
he's
so,
like 40-ish.
Like... Didn't you think he was so shy when we met him?
Yes. I felt like he didn't want to talk to us, but he was being nice. And he did talk to us.
I feel like he was forced. It was like, oh, we have some people that want to talk to you. But to be fair, he was also kind of forced upon us. So it was almost a mutual force, I feel.
Yeah.
Because they were like, Luke Shepherd's here. We're like, oh, we'll talk to Luke Shepherd.
We had really been asking for David West Reed, but he was unavailable. Or
and it turns
was
out
not making himself available.
We should have actually been asking for Luke Shepherd.
So,
sorry, Luke. Next time we see you...
No, we're such fans.
No, yeah. Like, I mean, we've seen, as you said, so much of the work, but like, there are two huge standout projects to us here. And I can't wait to see what he does next. And I don't know, he's been in Toronto many times, so maybe his next show will be something that comes here, or maybe he'll like... We have a UK connection.
True.
Maybe we'll work with him.
And Juliet, In Dreams, Just for One Day, have all been here.
Come on, Starlight Express, announce your Toronto production. We're ready. Actually, I could see that coming. Not in the arena version that they have.
This is the thing. It's like a purpose-built venue, and I just don't know where you put it, or if Mervish is willing to pay to build something. Why am I thinking about like the Railway Children again when I think about Starlight Express? Because didn't they like build something for the Railway
like Steam Whistle, basically.
Yeah.
I was there. We were on the railway tracks.
But it was described heavily for me.
I feel like, could they not do Starlight Express in like a Cirque du Soleil tent, basically?
Potentially.
But they need to roller skate. So the ground.
Well, you would build a stage. You build a stage.
Yeah, like that to me of like what he's worked on is like the one that could come here next. I don't think Paddington is coming to Toronto anytime soon.
No. Only if
there was a moment where we were like, oh my God, is Paddington premiering before Broadway? But
it just doesn't need to do an out of town
No.
here. The way,
especially
like,
because they didn't even do
it's
an
ready.
out of town for themselves. Like,
Yeah,
they don't.
it's ready to go.
It's more than ready to go. But I feel like
Beyond
now,
ready.
like, as we're kind of wrapping up this conversation, like, what is Paddington gonna be like on Broadway? Like, do you think that audiences will receive it the same way that they're receiving it in the West End?
So I was thinking about that earlier today on my drive as I was, listening to the cast album. I think
As you were singing Peruvian.
I was like, no, I think New York audiences are going to love it. And I think some of the hesitation has been, is this too British for American audiences, the American tourist audience? But the thing is, Americans love British things. I think it will be like related to in a slightly different way. It will almost be like a tourist experience seeing it the way we experienced it. Like, oh my God, isn't it crazy? Like, they're so British. Like, I don't know if that makes sense, but I think instead of being, I think the message, especially if you're in New York City, which is a huge city like London that's made up of so many different people who, come to that city, move to that city to, for work or to different, just to like change your life or to be closer to people, or for whatever reason you move to an entirely new place. I think New York is like another great place to house that show the way London is. But I think it will work well because it will be fun for the American audience and the tourist audience to kind of like be immersed in like London and the Britishness of Paddington. I think it will like be a fun little element. I didn't think that there were, maybe they went over our heads, but I didn't think there was anything that was like so specific and niche that was like misunderstandable. The way that when we saw Titanic, we're like, what are they talking about?
No, but even like, it's not at all the same. But I remember like, when Come From Away said that they were going to New York, we were like, oh my God, is this too Canadian? And they kept their Rogers TV reference in that, which is like so niche. But there's nothing like that. I don't.
It's a period piece. It's like a historical piece. No, most of the things were things that already, and maybe because we're from Canada, we see it a little bit differently than, let's say, Americans would, but most of the things were things that are like, quote unquote, like stereotypically British to me. So I don't think anything was so like specifically different that it will go.
The only thing is in the scene when everything goes wrong with Paddington at the hotel, it's at the Savoy Hotel, which is obviously the show is playing at the Savoy, which I think is like a cute little thing. They don't really necessarily need to change that, but they could. But they do have a line of like, Mr. Curry has this amazing line of like, oh my God, like why would anybody pay to see something so commercial like this, or
there's like,
turn it into like a theme park attraction?
Someone's like, who would, I'm not remember the exact line, but I think it's maybe that, where it's like, who would put Paddington on display for the entire city or whatever? And as some people who just been walking around London, where like Paddington is on every corner, shop,
everywhere. You can't go past a souvenir shop in London where you cannot find something that's Paddington related.
There's a whole Paddington shop at Paddington Station, his namesake.
Yes, the like, we
as
I
said, by
the Paddington experience. We went into the gift shop. Like,
went to the gift shop.
He's everywhere. Like, it's unbelievable. We saw that little Paddington in the bag at every single store that we walked into. At one moment I was like, do I need this?
So the like ubiquity of Paddington is not there in New York City. So, and they'll like maybe miss a little bit of that, but I don't think it's anything huge or major.
The one thing that I think
North America is fascinated with UK culture and London.
Yes. And also at the same time, like, he is a universal, like, worldwide property. The books, the movies.
Everyone knows the
like,
movie.
People know. But the one thing that I think they have going for it is, like, what family show is on Broadway right now? Is there one?
Like, something new?
I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, beyond, like, The Lion King, Aladdin, those are pretty, like, stale a little bit at this point. Yeah. Sorry to them. But, like, another criticism for the show, and it's not even for the show, it's, like, the ticket prices are so beyond.
But I think that goes beyond this show, because just Broadway in general, especially next season, my God, between Evita and Paddington.
No, I know. But, if you're marketing as a family show, to buy 4 tickets at, like, let's say in London, like £200 each, that's outrageous for a family of four, just a regular family of four, to be paying £800 to take the entire family.
But also at the same time, like, people are paying like $1,000 to go see The Lion King as a family of four.
I know. And that's also outrageous. I also think that's outrageous.
No, it is. It's crazy. But yeah, it's just interesting. I also agree that I don't think it's going to have any issues. Many of the theater influencers that like we watch from New York, they are already sure that Paddington will be Best New Musical next year.
Wow. Not Dolly?
Announced today, Dolly at the St. James. Can't believe.
I don't think it's going to be Dolly.
It's not going to be Dolly.
It's not going to be Dolly.
No, next season I do think though is shaping up to be so much better than
yes, this season was a bit of a dud.
Two massive UK transfers next year with Evita in Revival and obviously Paddington in You, and also not announced, to be on Broadway, but off Broadway next season, Benjamin Button. So like there's a lot of UK things happening in New York next year. I really thought we would maybe get Benjamin Button first. David, what were you doing?
David, I know. Is David using his connections in the UK as much? Hannah, what are we doing?
Hannah, let's talk. Because
go.
I actually think that would have been kind of a fun, out of town to do Benjamin Button in Toronto as a pre-Broadway, just to get it in front of a North American audience before sending it off Broadway. But we'll see what happens there. It's an interesting, we'll obviously be following this. We'll definitely be talking about Paddington again when we do our season preview in September. Maybe by that point we'll have a little bit of casting news, but I don't know for sure. Correct me if I'm wrong. If you know, this is spring 27, right?
Yes, spring 2027
at the Al Hirschfeld Theater. So Moulin Rouge is closing this summer. Then they got to do a little bit of a reno, take down all that velvet wallpaper, and get some orange blossoms sent into those walls, and then we're ready to go. Anything else on Paddington before we rate it?
Oh my god. Probably, but no.
I know. I could literally speak on this forever. You'll definitely be hearing from me again in our year in review. I can guarantee that.
Yeah. No, Paddington was, a special theatrical experience. I would recommend it to anyone. There's no one I would say, maybe not for you. I think if you can get a ticket, you have to go. And I would say, if you're thinking about, maybe making a theater trip, I think worth it.
I agree. Also would have been devastated to miss this, knowing what I know.
We wouldn't have even known what we would have missed, but no, I'm happy
because
that we got
that's the thing. Everything that you read online about it is that this was 5-star reviews across the board when it first was opening in the West End. So many people have talked about it online, and it's just you walk in with an expectation. It's there's no way that anything will match that. No, it exceeds. Yeah. It is that good. The hype is so real. So
it's so good.
As you're saying, if you're thinking about going, just go. You won't regret it. I can promise you. Unlike the Hunger Games, which you probably would regret, this you would not. Okay, let's rate it.
Wow. Okay. I'm going to give Paddington the Musical 9 out of 10
I
party
thought you were
hats.
about to do it.
I
won't do it either. It's a coveted spot.
To do it, but I know the coveted spot. 9 out of 10 party hats for Paddington.
I'm also gonna give Paddington. Just know it's a high 9 out of 10.
It's a high 9.
Please take care of this bear. Little tags. New York, you better take care of Paddington because, as I said, London has been taking care and will be, I guess, for the next however many years to come.
For a long time, I think. For a long time.
So, yeah, just again, what an exciting accomplishment for, I think, everybody involved in this. And I cannot wait to see, please, New York, give us some behind the scenes videos. I'm dying to watch. I will watch every, get the Broadway.com vlog camera in there. I'm ready.
Who should do the vlogs? Probably
Mr.
the girl
Curry.
playing the daughter. Oh, Mr. Curry. I was gonna say the girl playing the Gen Z Paddington.
What about the governor, the Geographers Guild? She could do it.
Peru. Yeah, she needs to come over.
Obviously, when casting gets announced for Broadway, we will be talking about that because now I have so much stake in this game. Before I was whatever, Paddington. Now I'm here for it. Yeah. Okay, so that's our thoughts on Paddington, and now it's time for our obsession of the week. Okay, Steph, what's your obsession?
Wow. So we kind of have touched upon this a little bit earlier in the episode, but we have to bring it back to one of the most emotional shows of 2025 for me.
Oh my God.
And that's just Look, okay.
I just need to say this is getting way too much airtime.
I was touched by this. Okay, but also we have the director of the show, Luke Shepherd, and who loves the jukebox musical apparently. And also the song I'm picking specifically has a solo by James Hamid. He was the Phil Collins vocalist. I was trying to figure out who he was. He did In the Air Tonight. He did the In the Air Tonight. So it's a mashup.
I kind of see it now.
Yeah, now I remember. I saw like a little video clip. I was like, oh. I also think he was
what a great song. Actually, that was iconic. Sort of the drums in that song, so good.
Yes. So it's an In the Air Tonight, Why Can't We Live Together mashup. So James Hamid, Danielle Steers, Ashley Campbell are like the featured vocalists on it. This is like during the like concert section. James Hamid, I don't even know if we talked about it enough, has like such a beautiful, like clear voice. It sounds so like
he's
sweet
also,
and innocent. It's the perfect match.
He's not putting on like a young voice for Paddington.
No, that's just
which
his
is
voice.
I think like important. There's no like caricature of a performance. Like he's just himself, and he has such a sweet voice. You're right. Yeah.
Yeah, he's such like, you feel like his voice is coming out of this bear. Like there's no question that the match of voice and bear and Paddington work. So yeah, my obsession this week is just like, I'm gonna throw it all the way back to James Hamid singing in Just for One Day, the Live Aid musical, In the Air Tonight.
I can feel it coming. What a song.
It was.
Phil Collins did that.
Phil Collins. Yeah, he was great. But yeah, that's all I've got. Tara, what's your obsession?
Okay, my obsession this week is the other day I watched the movie Power Ballad, which is a John Carney movie, which we've talked about him a few times because we are such big fans of Sing Street. We did a Sing Street episode, but he also did Once, and he did Begin Again. He's also done Florence on, which I have not seen. He did On the Edge, which I have not seen, and there's one other one which I haven't seen. Anyway, this is another kind of movie musical. This one stars Nick Jonas and Paul Rudd, and the concept of this movie is that Paul Rudd is a wedding singer, but he was previously in a band, and he ends up like moving to Ireland because he meets his wife and they have a kid, so he kind of like drops his dreams to like start a family, and then to have a job, he is part of this wedding band. Anyway, Nick Jonas's character is like a pop star. It's so funny because like they say that he was part of a band, so they use old footage of Nick like in his
as a child
boy band days, because they have all
That's
of
funny.
it, and also Nick has like a buzz cut in this movie, so they literally scrubbed every single, I think, Getty image on the internet of Nick in his buzz cut era and put it into this movie, because I was like, oh, he's like 12 years younger in that photo. But like, that's totally fine.
That's fine.
But he is attending his friend's wedding in Ireland, and he's like this huge star, Danny Wilson, and his friend is like, please do me a favor and sing this one song. Anyway, he sings I Wish, Stevie Wonder, with Paul Rudd, like at the wedding, and they kind of like vibe. All this to say, what ends up happening is they end up going to like Nick Jonas's character's hotel room. They start like jamming together. They start drinking, and Nick's character steals Paul Rudd's song, and it becomes super famous. And we kind of like watch the entire thing unfold. It's like a really fun movie. I think they're both really good in it. Paul Rudd has such a good voice. I had no idea. He's so charming.
Is it him singing?
Yeah, it is him singing, because I saw a couple interviews, and Nick in the interviews was like, this guy can sing. Like, I don't know if anybody knew that, but this guy can sing. Normally, I find Nick Jonas to be so annoying, but I actually think he's quite good in this because he's playing kind of an annoying character.
Annoying? Yeah, exactly.
But I think he's good. I was like, oh, we're acting. This is fun. And the song that I'm going to play from this is the song that, he steals, which is called How to Write a Song Without You. I think the Jonas Brothers recently performed this at like a concert, because I think Nick maybe, I don't know if he was part of the writing on it, but he definitely, like, there's an album for this movie. It's mostly covers because they're a wedding cover band.
Right.
But I think like John Carney is really good at these movies that involve music. I don't know, I guess I would call them movie musicals because there's enough songs in them, but they always take place in like a small town. This premiered at like the Dublin Film Festival, I believe this year. It opened like in select theaters, and now it's like available to rent on Amazon Prime. Wow. And it's just like it's a very easy watch, and if you're interested in hearing Paul Rudd sing, I recommend it.
So fun. Wow, that's fun.
So
fun.
That's my obsession this week. That's our thoughts on Paddington. That's it, because it's 11 p.m. on a work night. So we got to wrap this up.
That's so true. It's so true.
But if you want to listen to any of our other episodes, you can do that by subscribing to our podcast wherever you listen to podcasts. You can also watch us on YouTube. So don't forget to subscribe there and leave us a comment.
And you can follow us on Instagram at Off2BOA Podcast with a number 2, or on TikTok at Off2Broadway. And you can see more of our London trip on both those social media platforms. And leave a comment and let us know if there's anything you want to see us cover.
And we'll see you guys next time.
Bye.